Great. Good afternoon. Thanks for grabbing your seats after the break, and we're going to kick it back off. My name is Paul Arnautoff. Today I'm going to be talking about how we are bringing SaaS, software as a service application add-ons, to Cloud Foundry environments via distribution partnership with their marketplace. A little bit about myself. Paul Arnautoff, Director of Business Development at AppDirect, was the first hire on the business team and joined the company to lead our ISV partnerships, which is overseeing the integration of over 160 software as a service applications into the network for distribution purposes. Today I lead partnerships with OEMs, with platform as a service, with infrastructure as a service that have resulted in partnerships with Pivotal, with Samsung, Rackspace, Red Hat, and many others. A little bit about our company, AppDirect. We're actually located just a few blocks from here in downtown San Francisco. We have around 160 employees worldwide with presences in Argentina, in Switzerland, in Germany, and Canada. We recently raised a Series C round of funding through Mithril, which is Peter Thiel's venture arm, of $35 million. And we've grown our technology via acquisition. A couple of note, back in 2012, we bought a billing company called JBilling, which is one of the world's largest open source billing as a service platforms. And that's what enables us to handle subscriptions for all the applications that are offered in our catalog. We also acquired a app packaging and orchestration company called Standing Cloud back in 2013, and that enables us to handle private cloud deployments. So today I'm going to be talking to you about a couple of things. One, our big idea that we call cloud service brokerage. I'll be talking about how we use that in the context of Pivotal Cloud Foundry with their marketplace. I'll talk about the service broker integration that we performed to get AppDirect connected into their model. We'll talk a little bit about last mile application delivery, which handles how do we optimize drop-off to get customers onboarded with software as a service applications. And then lastly, partnership opportunities, so ways that we can utilize all this technology to work together. So I'm going to kick off the presentation with a reference to a report that was published by IDC earlier this year that cites the rise of IDC's third platform. So this isn't news to everybody here at this conference today, but it covers the progression that we've made from deploying enterprise software on mainframes and terminals to virtualized network and networking, ultimately to where we are today, which is this massive proliferation of applications that are deployed onto almost any device that you could imagine and get your hands on. So today, televisions are shipping with smart applications that are enabling you to consume media content on demand. Even refrigerators are coming with applications that'll let you set the temperature. And cars, for example, it's not very safe, but they're coming with a set of applications that can maybe make you crash and burn, but nonetheless they're there, and software is becoming a daily part of our lives. But this instant gratification that we're seeing as individual users and consumers of software, it's changing the way and the behavior through which that we expect to consume and purchase software in the context of our businesses, of our enterprises, and our organizations. So, in the next 3 years, IT spending from groups outside of IT, groups that will bypass IT, are expected to increase by over 6% year over year. Cloud spending is expected to grow 25% overall, reaching $100 billion by 2017. 75% of which is expected to be public cloud spending. So rest assured, we're all in the right place to contribute to this expanding phenomenon of cloud software development. But of course, the third platform is not only changing the way that we are consuming and using software. The reason we're all here today is to talk about platform as a service, and that of course is changing the way that we're building and bringing software to the mainstream. So if you think about the way that software was built in the past, you'd have to purchase bare metal, make those machines virtualized, deploy a solution stack on top of that, and ultimately build a purpose-built application on top. Today, the vast majority of ISVs are choosing infrastructure as a service to host and scale their applications, deploying a solution stack on top, and then running their applications. But of course, the future, and with tools like Pivotal Cloud Foundry, we're now able to not worry about the VMs, we don't need to worry about the machines that our applications are running on, and we've shifted the paradigm of ownership onto the application and the code so that we can address this expanding demand for the consumption of software very, very quickly. Now, even if you drill down into specific business functionalities of the applications that we're building, the way that you build applications is incredibly different today than it was even 5 years ago. Today, there's no need to think about building your own billing engine. There's no need to think about building a database. There's no reason to think about sending emails from your app yourself. There's no reason to think about how are you going to manage and monitor your code performance. We now have tools and software that have become available as a service to plug into the applications that you're building to expedite the process of building software and getting it to market. So, you can send emails with folks like SendGrid now. You can monitor your code and app performance with things like New Relic. And what that is creating today is the average modern application is really this customized collaboration of different technologies that are pieced together via API. So what does all this mean for us? As the third platform lowers the cost of delivery and integration, focused single-use services will proliferate. So as more and more tools are becoming available to us, and as the costs of building software are diminishing, and the ease of integration of multiple services to create this broader business functioning tool increases, the entire landscape of software is changing. And of course, what this is resulting in is this massive, massive explosion of the amounts of applications that we're seeing in circulation today. Today, there's over 5,000 cloud applications available to the general public. IDC expects that to increase by 10x over the next 4 years, which means that there will be 50,000 single-use, purpose-built applications to function for literally any purpose that you could possibly imagine. But the behavior of businesses today has not changed in that 56% of businesses prefer to purchase software from a trusted single vendor. So this is causing this massive, massive rush to the cloud. You're seeing huge announcements from companies like IBM launching cloud marketplaces. Large software companies that are either thinking about how they can migrate their proprietary assets to the cloud to offer them on demand to customers via subscription model, or they're thinking about maybe how they can aggregate different sets of tools together and become that trusted provider to offer these solutions to end users via marketplace or via a different channel. Now, just out of curiosity, how many ISVs are in the room today? How many software vendors? Many, looks like around half. So for the ISVs in the room, you're very familiar with the pain points associated with distributing your application through this changing model. So you essentially have two routes to market. You have one, you can sell direct to the end user, either through SEO, SEM, word of mouth, coming to conferences like this and potentially looking for customers to offer your product to. If you want to take the channel route, if you want to sell through some of these aggregators that are packaging and offering these tools to their end users, then you have to think about performing custom one-off integrations with every single channel that you would like to distribute through, whether that's a Microsoft or maybe a Heroku or a Pivotal Cloud Foundry, whoever it is that's offering these tools and services. It requires an additional integration for every single point of distribution. So that leads us to this concept of cloud service brokerage, or CSB. So what exactly does that mean? Cloud service brokerage was actually coined by Gartner, and the definition is it's a single point of aggregation through which consumers can purchase, discover, consume, and manage cloud services, all through a single pane of glass. And the way that we've addressed that is by providing a developer portal where services can be onboarded and integrated. And then once they're published into a catalog, they can be syndicated across a network of marketplaces that we are powering for a variety of different brands around the world. And that, of course, is sending these applications to the device, to the operating system, to whatever location the end user actually wants to use to consume these services. So a little bit about the history of cloud service brokerage. So AppDirect did not invent the model. The cloud service brokerage is an old concept, but it has never been performed the way that it's performed today. So before AppDirect existed, a CSP was likely bringing their own catalog of services to the table, either proprietary applications that they owned, or they were asking vendors to perform a custom integration into their platform. They would have to build basic search so that you can search and browse through this catalog. You'd need to build identity and access management to allow users to consume and control who has the consumption rights of the tools that they're procuring. And then you have to think about billing. How do you charge subscriptions for these applications that you're offering? So in the past, the model was very bring your own license. This is very common. There was very, very lightweight upfront fees associated with the distribution of software. And the target customers for these marketplaces or these tools was, of course, the administrators of the applications. So the provisioning that occurred would go to the first admin company, and then the admin of that company was forced to distribute licenses to their end users, to the consumers of that software. If you look at when AppDirect launched back in 2011, we changed the model very much. We introduced an integrated catalog of software as a service solutions with tools like Office 365, Box, Symantec, DocuSign, applications that were relevant for business consumption. And we built a platform that includes search, provisioning, identity and access management, single sign-on into all the applications that are offered through the catalog, and then, of course, robust subscription and billing management via our acquisition of JBilling, the billing company. And we targeted primarily large internet service providers, online retailers, even cable companies that had strong business relationships with small and medium businesses, identity and access management relationships, and most importantly, a billing relationship with these customers. And for the first time, we were enabling businesses to purchase software in the context of a team from an end user as opposed to maybe the administrator divvying out licenses. And then, of course, today, why are we here today and why are we talking about platform as a service? We've extended this functionality and this technology to onboard a catalog of applications that also address enterprise developer markets and small developer teams. So things like database as a service with Mongo, database as a service with Redis, New Relic, SendGrid for email delivery. And by targeting these types of ISVs to onboard and distribute through our network, we've targeted infrastructure as a service players deeper in the stack, platform as a service, and software as a service companies as well to become that single point of aggregation to distribute this content to their end users in a context that makes sense. So why platform as a service? Why partnership between Cloud Foundry and AppDirect? So I'm sure many of you were here for the keynote yesterday that was delivered by Paul Arnautoff, who talked about the importance of the Cloud Foundry Foundation, and ultimately that the goal is to provide an open ecosystem for the cloud. And in order for us to accomplish an open ecosystem for the cloud, services are a critical element of deriving the best use and functionality out of platform as a service, specifically Cloud Foundry. So we started talking with Pivotal actually back in 2011 when they were part of VMware, and they came to us with this concept of app services and providers and expressed an interest to bring in a leading catalog of third-party services that are delivered over the web, consumed on demand, and can be plugged in to applications that have been pushed and are running and scaling with Cloud Foundry. So how did we actually perform this integration? What does this partnership look like, and how does it work? So AppDirect, of course, brings a software as a service catalog to the table. And we performed an integration with the Cloud Foundry service broker, most recently the V2 service broker, that essentially injects the AppDirect product catalog into any Cloud Foundry environment that has access to the cloud controller and to the service broker. Calling this API will enable the end user or the developer using Cloud Foundry to fetch a catalog and a list of all the services that are available via AppDirect. It will enable that end user to automatically provision an account with the third-party software as a service provider. And then lastly, they can even perform an automated binding action that would tie the environmental variables or whatever manual piece of configuration that's required to use that third-party tool and inject that into the application that they're running within Cloud Foundry. And all of this is command line addressable or via the GUI that's running at run.pivotal.io right now, Pivotal Web Services. This is a diagram of the service broker integration here on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, you'll see a list of the actions that the end user might perform, whether it's creating an account with SendGrid, or it's deleting a service, or it's binding a service into an app that they're running. And as all of that passes through the cloud controller, it's sent via the V2 service broker to AppDirect, where we serve as that adapter to then send a unified event to the ISV to actually respond to that action and deliver value to the end user. So AppDirect serves as that catalog for provisioning of these services, but provisioning an account with the third-party ISV is not enough. It's very simple to go and create an account with SendGrid or with New Relic or one of the applications in the catalog. But the ultimate value that we are bringing to the table for these ISVs is enabling them to sell their product through a trusted provider like Pivotal Cloud Foundry. So not just provisioning, but also billing for these applications. And so we took the service broker integration a step further with Pivotal Cloud Foundry. And what we did was, since AppDirect is handling all the metering and rating and subscription logic, remittance, payout processing, all of that information that is extremely complex for a provider to recognize themselves, we're translating all of that information and sending it to an API endpoint at Pivotal that enables them to add not only the runtimes that an end user is procuring, the apps that they're pushing into Cloud Foundry, but also the third-party services that they're buying, all as single line items onto the one bill that they pay with their subscription for Pivotal Web Services on a monthly basis. So that led us to this concept of last application delivery. So as we were building out this integration, many of the ISVs that we talked to expressed that they experience a drop-off with this final point of manual configuration that's needed to run many of the software as a service applications that are delivered. So a good example is with app performance monitoring and management with tools like New Relic or AppDynamics. They require the end user to essentially drop in an agent, whether it's a YAML file or whatever it might be, into the VM or into the application instance that they're running in order to actually start tracking information from their application. With email delivery with folks like SendGrid or Mailgun or Postmark, they all require the configuration, the manual configuration of SMTP email credentials with the application that you're running so that you can start sending emails from your instance. And then lastly, with database as a service with folks like Mongo and Redis and Elephant SQL, they require hooking up the environmental variables of the database that you've purchased and configured, tying it to the application that you actually want to cache data from. So ultimately what this represents is one additional last mile action that's required from the developer or the end user to get the full utility out of the service that they've procured from the marketplace. And so what we did was we built what we call our service binding APIs in conjunction with Pivotal that essentially adapts one action that's provided from the end user in Pivotal. They can simply issue a command line reference to CF bind service, or they can go into the GUI and say that they'd like to bind the application to the service to the application that they're running in Cloud Foundry. And AppDirect will receive that event, translate it, and send it to the ISV in a manner that enables them to perform that action in an automated manner so that you can more quickly buy a database, attach it to the app that you're running, than you would if you would go to the database provider directly yourself. So how do we package all this information into an end user experience that makes sense? We've talked about discovery, purchasing, binding, billing. At our core, AppDirect is a marketplace as a service platform. That means that we power a software as a service oriented marketplace, and we extend that functionality out to providers like Cloud Foundry. Some providers choose to have AppDirect white label our marketplace template and skin it to fit their brands and integrate it into their website. A good example would be Samsung Knox's marketplace, their mobile marketplace. They were happy with AppDirect to provide a skin template that fit their branding needs. Alternatively, Pivotal Cloud Foundry really pushed us as a platform and said, hey, we acquired Pivotal Labs. We're a heavy dev shop. We have the talent and the resources to build out a phenomenal user experience and front end ourselves, but we want AppDirect to provide that back-end heavy lifting for billing and provisioning and binding of these third-party services. So can we use your marketplace, but bring that to our end users within run.pivotal.io, within our console itself? So we extended a set of APIs, actually first in the context of Pivotal, that enabled them to consume all of the catalog services, all of the marketplace functionality from AppDirect, and ingest that into run.pivotal.io into their dashboard so that the end user never has to leave run.pivotal.io. They never have to leave the command line if that's where they want to perform these actions. All of that is pulled into the context of the experience that they want to achieve. So to summarize a couple of the opportunities that we have here today via this integration and how it provides relevance to everybody in the room. So for the cloud ISVs, the catalog that AppDirect brings to the table represents one single point of integration that you can perform for provisioning, for billing, for identity and access management, one integration to maintain that will enable your application to be distributed across a network of marketplaces. We provide automated provisioning and account creation for users that buy your application through Pivotal Cloud Foundry and every Cloud Foundry deployment. We provide that last mile manual configuration by providing our binding APIs to enable whatever manual configuration your app requires to be injected into the application that is running within Cloud Foundry. And then lastly, from a billing standpoint, we handle monthly payouts, reconciliation, remittance, so that you receive one bill from one vendor that represents the revenue that you're generating from the sale of your product across every marketplace that is powered by AppDirect. And then for any of the Cloud Foundry operators that are in the room, the integration that we built with Cloud Foundry and via the service broker is an out-of-the-box integration that comes with open source Cloud Foundry code and can immediately be used to call the AppDirect product catalog, offer a set of services that are delivered on demand to your customers and to your developers that are using your Cloud Foundry instance. We provide consolidated billing for all of the applications that are purchased by your end users in the context of your Cloud Foundry deployment, and that can be integrated into the bill that you have with your end user on a monthly basis. All of this, of course, is command line addressable from your end users. And lastly, this is going to help you to monetize your Cloud Foundry investment, your Cloud Foundry project from day one. So offering a set of services, which is a critical component to accomplishing an open ecosystem for cloud, is something that we can help bring value to your developers, to your customers, right away from the minute that they start using your Cloud Foundry instance. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time. I'll be off on the side. If any of this was interesting you, feel free to come over and ask me any questions you'd like. Thank you very much.